Hey, Steve, here we go for the final time. Does it feel a bit different this week or not?
Well, I suppose it does feel different because we haven't had that midweek game to keep preparing for, if you know what I mean. It's funny when you get those games, game after game after game. It's very, very difficult to get your head up, really. So, I suppose it has been slightly different this week. Nice different, I would add.
That kind of last week at school feel?
Well, I'm not sure I can remember school because that one was a long time ago, but I suppose that would be, pretty accurate.
But then I guess not last week at school, you didn't have an exam at the end of it, which is what they've got to finish their week off, haven't they, really?
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, nothing changes. Forget our last couple of results. Our last couple of performances have been pretty good. So, if you were to say to me again, would I set off for the same performance? Yes, I would. We've just got to try and eradicate a few of those moments in those games. So the same type of performance would be great, and it would be great then if we can then get a result on the back of it, a positive one.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the last time that as a group you're all together in the format that you're in now as well.
Yeah.
And a group that's been through so much together in that last 7 months.
Yeah, I mean, normally what happens, whether you're a group like we've been through the last sort of 6 months, or probably even beyond me with Michael for 10 months, and you go through lots of trials and tribulations, and then there's the other side of it where you go and win a league or you win a cup, and then you have friends for life. And I think a lot of the boys will be close. And you're right, for the last time, when you look at the group as a whole, it will be the last time that we're all together. And as I've said before, without the whole group, without the positivity of the lads out on the training ground, my staff in and around me, the directors, it would have been very difficult. And obviously, last but by no means least, the supporters as well, because that's been huge, really. So, yeah, that connection, we've got to try and keep that connection and build on it, and try and enjoy the last game.
Yeah, and I guess that helps. Team talks, you're at home, let's just go and finish on a high, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because the team talks, I very rarely do anything before the game. There might be a little bit of a moment just before we go out, but 9 out of 10, I like to relax them. I don't rev them up before they go out, because until you're a player going into that arena, sometimes you're already tense about it anyway. So I don't try to do that. Most of the work, most of the meetings, most of the prep will be done in the meeting room, and then out on the training ground. So by the time Saturday comes, there's very little for me to do until maybe half time.
And it finishes against a Colchester side that not so long ago were trying to squeeze into the playoffs. They've not had the finish that they were hoping for. So again, they'll be looking to give their away supporters a high. Yeah,
I mean, I think Danny's done a really good job there this year. I think they were one of the better teams that we played. I think they're a very good team, and we make no bones about this. This is a difficult game at the weekend for us. But if we can play as well as we can play, we know it'll be a difficult game for them. But I think they've had a few injuries this season as well to contend with. Certainly one of late. I spoke to one of their lads last Sunday morning, Tom Flanagan. I gave him a call at home because I'd had Tom for a couple of years at Shrewsbury, and I know that he ended up with a bad injury. So we had quite a deep and meaningful conversation last Sunday morning when I'd seen his injury, because I was looking forward to seeing him this week. So, that's a blow for them, blow for him, blow for the football club. We all know that injuries are part and parcel of the game. And when you've got people like Tom Flanagan, who has been such a good professional, international footballer, great lad, it's really, really sad. Whilst I know if he would have been playing for them this week, it would have made our task more difficult as it would be. I'd rather him be on the pitch playing against us than the situation he's in with his injury at the moment. So Yeah, I think Danny's done a great job. Best wishes to Tom and love to his family. And yeah, let's get the game on now.
Yeah, and no matter what happens on Saturday, the mission was completed in the fact that you've managed to keep Cheltenham Town in the Football League.
Yeah.
Do you now see this, no matter what, as the start of a new project or the end of a chapter? How do you kind of look at this season now?
It's funny, when I came in, the first bit was the first 3 months that we broke down, and then after that 3 months it had to be then what was going to happen certainly in the next 4, if you know what I mean. So we knew that was going to be tough. I think first and foremost what you have to do is close the book on this chapter and then plan for the next one ahead. So the next one will obviously start in the summer. But yeah, I think that the 2 chapters that we've written this year, as it would be, I think they will be positive chapters in the end. When you look at everything that we had to go through and where we were, and I mean, everybody had, basically written us off, and that not in a bad way either, So I think it's been, like I've always said, a collective effort and a great bonding for everyone. Because sometimes when you go through the tough times together, it does make you closer. As I said, you either get the lows, what get you really close, or the highs, which get you close. I always think the bonding is harder when you've been struggling, because when you're winning, things just tend to roll. But I think when you get your tough times, and importantly, I think for a manager, that's when you get to find out about everybody. So that's certainly coming back been a really good grounding for me. And I've found huge positives everywhere. So I'm really pleased about that.
Yeah. I mean, you told me earlier in the season about you writing a diary every day, which I didn't know until then. You've certainly had some entries this year, haven't you, to remember?
No, I have. I've got a full book this year. There's been some good pages. And it's good as well because, with those good times and bad times, you can easily forget. Whereas if you skip back a few pages or a few months, it makes you very thankful for where you are today.
Absolutely. Now, somebody who will be in those pages quite a few years ago is Neil Grayson. There's a special halftime lap of honour to raise awareness of the fundraiser for the dementia care of club legend Neil Grayson, your promotion-winning former striker, of course, at such a young age, being diagnosed with dementia. That must hit hard. Yeah,
well, I mean, we obviously briefly chatted about that before we'd done the interview in terms of, Grace being there. I knew Grace was going to be there at the weekend, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him. But, he's a huge part of what went on here my first time round, I mean, there are lots of them. I mean, the big thing that did change throughout those years was the strikers, and there's lots of them I could reel off now, from Jimmy and Jason when we started, and then it went into, a Dale Watkins, then it went into like a Neil Grayson, then a Julian Allsop, then a Tony Naylor, and my God, I hope I haven't forgotten anybody else there in and amongst that, and if I have, apologise, but when you think about those, the strikers were the things that were changing from our rise from the Southern League to League One. But Neil Grayson was, the guy's just absolute salt of the earth. And when I heard about it, it was quite upsetting, really, when you hear about it. I think, we used to talk about ages and where he was and I was, and I think he has a November birthday, Grace. I'm sure it's that, and we, I think I was 4 months older than him or something like that, but the guy was just unbelievable. We had that period of time, I think, when we were in the trophy, and he couldn't play in that because he was cup tied, so therefore when we were rotating a little bit, he carried us. He carried the team through those real Saturday, Tuesday games for us to be able to get up. So yeah, Neil Grayson, I'll never forget him, and I don't want to either.
No, and he's, for those younger fans, I mean, he was one of those fans' favourites, a real warrior on the field, 100% of it, every tackle, every header.
He used to go down every game. The only thing is, he didn't go down because he was faking it or wasting time. He went down because, my God, the knocks that he used to pick up, he was absolutely as strong as an ox. He had incredible thighs, the power, and I don't know, and for a small guy, he was brilliant in the air.
Yeah.
But there's been some good strikers at Cheltenham over the years. The Mark Boylans of this world. I remember him from when I was a kid here, and what a player he was as well. Just to add to that collection.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark Boyland, one of a long list of former players, a bit at the ground on Saturday. Some you've played with, others played for you as well. How important do you think that is for this current crop to actually see that how highly regarded those former players are?
Brilliant. Well, did you say something about them going on the pitch at half time?
Yeah, there's a lap of
the only thing is our players are not going to see that. Maybe we keep them out at half time and let them have a look. I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing that our lads won't get to see. But when you talk about that, I suppose with Mark Boylan, you had John Murphy's team that was successful at Cheltenham all those years ago. So there'll be a lot of lads there that would have been brilliant for Cheltenham Town, and I mean they're obviously more than welcome. I did see Mark Boylan probably, I want to say, 6 weeks ago. I think he came to the game and he was in hospitality with somebody, but I managed to see him before the game, so that's great. I mean, Boylan was always he was one of the older pros, but he was brilliant with me. Such a young kid, and I was then, and I had a problem with my knee, and he managed to get me in, and his wife was like the assistant to a surgeon who managed to help me out all those years ago. So I've never forgotten that. Mark Boylan's an absolute top guy, and there's a lot of other guys that you've mentioned there as well that I'd have either played with or I would have managed as well, and and I'm sure every single one of them are absolutely top guys. So to maybe get a moment, it's obviously a busy day, but maybe to get a moment to see a few of those guys, it would be brilliant.
Yeah, well, they'll be doing the half-time lap of honour, and let's hope there's big smiles on your lap of honour at the end of the game.
Well, that'll be really good if we could do that.
Very best of luck, and thank you for the season.
Thank you very much.